right, so we're live.
Go. All right. So, good afternoon, all. I am Dr. Shatiea Blount, podcast host with Barter Black, here for the podcast episode tonight. And we have a really great guest here, which I'm excited to speak to. Um, Her name is Leonard. And so I am thrilled this evening to have a guest who is passionate about helping individuals and businesses thrive by mastering technology and time management. She's a behind the scenes powerhouse. You are stepping into the spotlight today.
Yes, like
Welcome.
this. But
To share your expertise. So, everybody, please welcome the founder of Rainwater Growth, Leonard. Woo!
well, I'm very happy to be here and then also have this conversation with you today to just talk a little bit about my background and the business.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start, could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself in terms of where you're based and what initially sparked your passion for teaching and technical training?
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I am based. I spend the majority of the time of my Maryland in Maryland, but I also split my time between Alabama and Georgia. But the
Okay.
company itself is actually based in Maryland.
Mhm.
I'll give you a background. I actually thought about this the other day, and it's like almost every job I have ever had, like ever, and we're not going to say how many years, I has been in either customer service or uh, teaching or training. And so, those are two things I care about, like helping people and then helping people learn things, right? So
Right.
my very first job, I got into a summer program at what was Red Mountain Museum is now the McWane Center, but I got to be a discovery professor. So we got to do experiments and uh, I don't want to say lectures because it was little kids, so you don't give lectures to little kids, but we got to give tours and just do little things to help the visitors learn about science. And so that
Mhm.
was my very first experience. I also worked as a summer aide for the school system. I went to school with the idea, you know how we have these ideas when we're teenagers, that I
Mhm.
was going to be a math teacher. And so
Okay.
I got to do a lot of student teaching and a lot of internships that way. But as the saying goes, life happened. So I didn't end up becoming a math teacher. But then even when I started working for the government, I had opportunities to do training and teaching. One of the job I spent the most time, about a little bit over half my career in, one key component of that job was to provide training on software releases or just functionality of the hardware we had in the building.
Nice. Nice. So I'm hearing themes of teaching and learning and teaching and learning. And so I have actually two questions. I'll start with, I guess
You
the
only get to
one,
ask one though, but oh, go ahead.
yes, one at a time, one at a time. Um, so I want to, so my idea, I want to talk about rainwater growth. I want to know one, where that name comes from.
Mhm.
That's the first question. I'm going to ask both and then you choose which one to answer first.
Okay.
Okay.
Or I
Yeah,
choose which one to answer. No, just kidding.
first. So, where did you get the name Rainwater Growth? Is the first question. And then the second question is um, this concept of teaching and learning. How do you think folks are really uh, engaging with the process of learning? I think sometimes people think they're supposed to know. So sometimes the process of learning is difficult. So those are the two ideas that flooded me in that moment. So I'm going to give them to you. One is tell me about the name Rainwater Growth, and if you can somehow weave in how that connects to the teaching and learning in terms of the process.
Okay, I was just gonna take the easy one, but okay. With the rainwater growth, I actually was just telling someone about this the other day. Is I, had been thinking about starting a training company since back when I had that job, and I could never come up with a name. It was like OEL Enterprise, like real, stodgy things. This consulting service. But one day I was just thinking, and I like rain. Rain makes things grow. And I was just like rain, water, growth. And I actually had it as three different words at first. And then
Oh, nice.
eventually I, restyled it and it became rainwater growth. And the reason why I think that it's fitting for a train company, because people are like, what do you do, agriculture? And I'm like, no, I like plants, but no. is because a lot of times when people think about training, going back to what your second question was, a lot of times when people think about training, it's not something that they get, they don't get as excited as I get, like I'm like, oh,
Mhm,
it's a free class, really? Where? But
mhm.
most of the time people don't think about that. But training is what allows people to grow. Just like when, I am also the person, it's like, whoa, it's rain, right? I get really excited because it's raining. I'm like, it's so beautiful outside, and everyone's looking at me like, yeah, yeah. But rain causes but if it didn't rain, we don't get flowers,
You
we
don't
don't
get
get
it's
growth,
true,
we can't
it's
have
true.
food, we can't eat. And I really like eating too. I like eating more than I like training. And
Well, training helps you to be able to eat the way you want to, I'm sure. You
yeah.
talking
So but a lot of times people, like you said, people aren't aware of what they could benefit from of the training, and so sometimes you have to slide it in there.
Mhm.
I did have the benefit when I worked, and that was a component of my jobs. I got to see all the requests, so I had evidence. I was like, "Look, you put in 20 service requests about how to do a printer, and all it
Mhm.
is typing in, this one line, and you have your printer out." So, when you have it, especially if you're in an environment, you're able to show, "Hey, this is something you provided." But sometimes you just have to give people little pieces.
Yes, spoon feeding, yes?
Yeah.
So, I noticed we've been talking about training and learning, and so can you share with the audience, um, what you train on, and what do you hope for them to learn?
Okay, so the primary thing that I've been training on the past 2 years is I'm actually been very focused on Office 365 and the Google Workspace.
Okay.
And, those are not I don't want to say sexiest things to train on, but I just said it. So I guess I do want to say it.
Mhm.
But those are the things that people are in those programs all day. They're using those programs and they know how to do certain things. Like they may know how to send an email. They know how to create a document, but they don't really get their hands dirty and they don't realize the functionality that's included. They may sometimes go out and purchase new software uh, in order to take care of a function that's included in something that they've already purchased. The example I was giving someone when I was talking to them earlier today was about with the 365. So people have Microsoft 365, but some people they may need it. I'm not saying they don't need it, but sometimes they don't even realize they have functionality there. So they go out and get a Asana or get a Trello, but they have Planner, right? Planner is included in the 365 suite in most 365 suites. Teams is there, so they may not need to get a Zoom subscription. And Teams also has something that's very similar to Slack. So that's three things that a person cannot have if they just learned a little bit more about what their current software suite has. And then also it's the functionality within the software itself. Sometimes people, it's not even the big things, it's the small things that people don't know about.
So I think it's interesting, right? So as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about my own experience. I have been a Zoom user. I am now a Google Workspace user. And when people send me Teams meeting requests, I cringe because I am not. I'm an Apple woman. So I don't really work in like Microsoft. I use the Apple products if it's not the Apple product, but the Apple applications, or Google Workspace. And so and then I think about the learning curve, right? Like, oh, where's the where's the turn off your camera feature? How do you share screen? Even there was one time I had to do a presentation using Microsoft PowerPoint, and micro PowerPoint took over my whole screen, and I didn't know, I couldn't see my notes, I couldn't see the people. So do you think that it's a people are buying these because they're like, oh, I just need one thing, and not knowing the full capability of the software? Or do you think that it's just a familiarity with the other softwares that prevents them from wanting to learn the other?
I don't even think I'm gonna go back and you're gonna have to pull me in, right? But to I don't even think necessarily it's not people don't want to learn. First of all, they're overwhelmed. They have so much, that's kind of where the time management piece comes in. They have so much other things coming at them that they are just like, I just want to get this done.
Yeah.
And design is a thing, right? And not all programs are designed well, right? So that is something that we have to admit. But a lot of times, like you said, people are just trying to focus, I'm trying to solve this problem, and they're not thinking about, because they don't have time, because they're overwhelmed, they're not thinking about what else can I do. And that's why we need to, a lot of times we need to take a step back and just really look at what we're trying to do and what we're trying to do it with, and see what's included. Like before you purchase something else, kind of see what you already have before you go out and buy something else, or before you renew, because sometimes you just had to get it, or you just, someone gave it to you.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the technology version of like we have food at home, right? Like, so before you go out and look for something else, see if what you have the capability to or functionality to do that. We do have Nico SX379. So also Microsoft 365 has Copilot, their Chat GPT integrated into their solutions as well. That's another I
Right.
guess AI resource in Microsoft 365.
So someone may not. I mean, people have their feelings about how Copilot is compared to Chat GPT. But for the basics, you may be able to get away with buying the Microsoft Copilot versus going out and getting the Chat GPT Pro subscription. You may
Hmm.
be able to do that. So, and then also they have a internal, um, like web chat that you can use that's not integrated with the programs. That's also included.
So how do you I guess promote your services with people who are just like, look, I just want to get this thing done. Like they don't know that they hold these deficits in terms of being able to maximize the usefulness of the software. So how do you help them know what they don't know? You know how to say that you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So
So
how do you help folks to do that in your outreach?
well, I try to share articles, not necessarily even articles that say come to me, because I want you to save time, whether you're saving time with me or with Bob down the street. It's more important to me that you actually get the information. So I'm always sharing helpful articles, either under my own name, not much under my own name, but under the business name.
Sure.
And then also offering classes. I have like free 30-minute classes that I offer on Eventbrite, that's along with all my other classes that people are able to come in. And sometimes they just have a question. One time someone had just like a very simple, it was something that was really holding up their day, but it was a very simple, oh, press this button instead of that button. And it saved them a whole 15 minutes
Hmm.
in their routine, because they didn't know that if they just press this other button, it was with pivot tables, if they just press this other button, that it would automatically put the spreadsheet in a different, I mean, put the pivot table in a different place.
So this is a free course you offer on Eventbrite?
Hmm.
You know, oh, I mean, I love the concept because like as a business owner myself, right? I know that you may not always have this full team behind you, right? You don't have IT where you can say, "Hey, show me how to do this." You don't have anybody to submit a ticket to.
Right.
So to have this kind of standing open forum where you're able to provide such value seems like a really amazing idea for like those of us who have the software, we pay for it, you
Right.
know, and may have a question about how to do something, but like I said earlier, don't have a IT support ticket option. Was that your thinking in having these?
And just offering it and having something out there. And I also have, which is not free though, but I also have like a one time, because a lot of times we give packages, right? But sometimes you just need one question answered, and we have a 30-minute conversation, and your issue is solved, and you don't have to keep coming back, and you don't have to sign up for the, like I'd like you to sign up for it, but you don't have to
Mhm.
sign up for the heavy package, and it'll also save your problem, because sometimes people don't need that, and they just need a quick answer, because they don't have that back end IT team. They
Yeah.
need the ability to say, I have a problem with this. And then if I'm not the person, then I'm going to try to put you in contact with someone who can help you.
Yeah. So this like as needed thing, not really trying to sell you a full package of things. It's like I'm here, I have an offering for what you need, but I'm not trying to move you into something that you don't need. That is really rooted in, I guess, in a ethical perspective. Yeah. In terms
Right.
of the way.
That's something I actually feel very strongly about. There is a quote, which I'm not going to get it right, but it basically says that you can't change the structure that you're in by doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, right?
Right.
That's what it speaks to. And I want to make sure that when I'm doing something, like if I want to do things a different kind of way, I won't say a cricket way, but if I want to do things a different kind of way or that kind of way, there are plenty of places where I could go and I could do it
Mhm,
in that
mhm,
particular way. But since this is my business and I have control over it, then I'm going to go in my way. And sometimes it hurts because it was a job I turned down because I didn't like the way the company made their money. And I was just like, oh, this would be really great. I
mhm.
could do this, this, and this with that. But it wasn't a good match. And so I try to, this is my opportunity to actually live my values. Sometimes you don't have the opportunity to do that, but this is something that I do feel strongly about.
I love that really because, Barter Black is much like that too. It's a technology company. You work in a technology space as well. And sometimes when we do begin to talk about tech companies, sometimes there is this risk of values misalignment, that we run with. So how do you I know you explained it a little bit, but if you can go more in depth into like what your values are and how you make sure that they are infused in every aspect of your business process.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I think this is where I say pass. Can I have the next question,
You
please?
can, you can.
But I mean, just honesty, helpful. You know, like the things I said. I care about helping people. So if it comes down to it, I'm going to try to help you. Even if I can't directly help you, I'm going to try to send you to someone else who can help you, who's going to treat you well.
Mhm,
Going back to maybe the solution that I think is best, right? Because I'm like, oh, but if you only do that, making sure it aligns with your values. Because sometimes you have a choice. You have a choice between price, convenience, and privacy, right? So if
mhm.
privacy is something that's very important to you, then sometimes you have to give up convenience or you have to pay a lot of money. So helping people, holding that space and helping people to be there, but also if it's not for me, knowing it's not for me and letting you go. If you're, like we don't have a good ethical match,
Yeah.
letting you go and find because there is someone who will help, who will help you
Mhm. So
without.
no,
Uh,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say someone who will be willing to help you without that, and when you're done with that person and you still need help, I will still be here to help you, in the other way. But there's so much in technology. There's so much opportunity to do something different than the right thing,
Yeah.
and, I'll leave it.
Well, the common thing. So, I mean, and that's where we get innovation, right? That's where we get your unique value proposition and those sorts of things. So, as I listen to you, I hear you. You're not saying this directly, but indirectly, the essence of what you're saying is really around relationship building and fit, right? It
Right,
is making sure that, this is a healthy partnership or a healthy alignment in terms of, this is what I do and this is what you want. If you want something that I don't do, that's okay. No judgment to you. But let
right.
me see if I can find someone to help you do that. And then if you find that you want what I do, then, I'm gonna be here. You know what I mean? And it's no
No animosity.
animosity or resentment because it is just the natural ebb and flow in any type of relationship. And so I think um we spoke about not on this call but in our prep call around the health of this site, right? Like the healthy habits around technology.
Right.
So I would love for you to talk more about that, especially in the context of relationship and thinking about the relationship people have with their technology, and how that can be a healthy or unhealthy or questioning type of a relationship status. What is a? It's complicated. That's what something it
Yeah.
can be complicated.
Yes, I mean, our relationships with our devices can be complicated just because of that same thing we just talked about. Because a lot of the things, the services we have are free. Like we use Gmail and we give Google the right. If we use Gmail, we give Google the right to read all of our emails and send advertisement to us. Even as a business owner, there's a such thing as a retargeting ad, right? You can set up an ad that will chase your customers across the internet.
Wait, you can't just flippantly say that. For those of us who are, you know, ignorant to the depth. So explain more about that.
No, that mean that's more of a marketing thing, but I was just saying that we have choices of how we interact with uh even as business owners, right? We have choices to make if we want to do advertising that's going to be invasive, or if we want to have more of a general advertisement. Yes, I am going to target you if you're in my target demographic and live in my area, but I may not say people I might not get as detailed. And
Mhm,
you can get a lot of details about your customers. And I
mhm,
will leave it at that and go back to what you said before about digital well-being, because we'll talk about how you can prevent doing some so much of that information being out there. um, and people, I just gave a presentation either last weekend or the weekend before last, and one of the statistics in that presentation was 8 out of 10 people, in the first 10 minutes that they wake up, reach for their cell phones.
sure.
I think it was like something like 57% of people take their cell phones to a very special room in their house that maybe the cell phone shouldn't be in.
The
Right?
bathroom?
Yes. I was trying not to like
I
gross.
mean, we all use bathrooms, I hope. If not,
Yeah.
we do have some way to release. So,
Yeah, but I mean, 57%, right? I think that statistic may be wrong, but people can call me out in the chat. But over half people take it, so there obviously we don't have boundaries, and I'm not saying that I'm good at it, because I do the first thing I do in the morning is Duolingo. So in order to do it the
mhm,
first thing in the morning, then it's one of the first times I pick up my cell phone. But we can use, instead of allowing this technology to take care of us or take control of us, we can actually use the settings on our technology. Like, we can set do not disturb, so during the day we're not constantly on our phones. We can reduce our notifications. We can make our screens grayscale after 10 o'clock so that we're not wanting to look at it, because the cell phones were designed, going back to how we can use technology for good or bad. Like, they use the same people who make the gambling machines in Vegas to come up with the algorithms that keep us engaged, because they
mhm,
make more money by showing us those targeted ads
mhm.
as we're going on our devices. And oh, you just got a shout out from Chris Gordon about
Okay, hi,
the
Chef.
wellness mirror.
Oh, you're welcome.
See, for your brand.
Good to
Uh,
see you, Chris.
and I will take that as a segue to get off the soapbox about digital
No,
well-being.
no,
But
no. So, I mean, I think there's a connection here, right? So, Chris
yeah,
Gordon has chimed in on Facebook to talk about the Wellness Mirror, which is the members only resource for Barter Black members, where we really reflect on a lot of the challenges faced by, Black entrepreneurs, in a non fluffy, really like a real, meaningful type of way. And so I don't think it's a coincidence that Chris hops in to talk about the wellness mirror as you're talking about digital wellness. And so I think you should continue, right? To talk about how people, you're saying that sometimes, people grab their devices um, first thing in the morning, et cetera, and have such a relationship with their devices where they are not in control of that
right.
relationship,
They're not in
right?
control over it, in
Mhm.
it, or of what's going on. The device is more or less running their lives. And some of it is by design, and we can't do much about it. Like, it was something I had to do, and I had to pick up myself. I had to go find my cell phone and pick it up twice. But we have the ability to make changes, uh, and to make it so that we're not getting distracted. The example I usually give in my digital well-being course is, do we need to get alerts for everything? Like, if I have 200 different apps on my phone, do I need to get an alert from TMZ when Justin Timberlake got, pulled over for drunk drinking and driving? I actually care about Justin Timberlake. I care a lot, right? But
Okay.
I don't need to know. I don't need to stop in the middle of my day to find out, oh, he got pulled over, right?
Yeah.
That's not, so I can learn about that at 6 o'clock, right?
Mhm,
When
mhm,
I'm eating dinner, I can concentrate on my food, and I
mhm,
can be there and be present. Another colleague of mine, Jessica Globe, who this is all she does all the time. She is a specialist in digital well-being, and we co-presented. Uh, I can't think of what you call it now, but we co-presented together on this topic. And one of the things that she brought out that I thought was wonderful, she's like, whenever you reach for your device, stop and think about, why are you reaching for that device, right? Are you bored? Are you hungry? Like, what
mhm.
is the reason you're stopping and you're reaching for that device? And so thinking about that, but using, like, instead of, instead of letting that device control you, go into those settings and update them so that it's working for you.
So
It's
I'm sorry to cut you
no,
off, but from a
please
mental
do.
health like standpoint, right? Like the stop and think thing is really hard to do for a lot of people, right? Because oftentimes you don't know that you have a negative relationship with your technology until it's brought to your attention. So because you think that you are connecting when you're really well, you may be actually disconnecting, right? You see the imagery with everybody at the dinner table looking at their phones, etc.,
Yeah.
like remaining connected in other ways. So what would you say are some indicators that would let a person know that they may have to look at their digital well-being, right? Because I'm always a proponent, like, you don't know what you don't know, and you and I
Right.
can talk about these things, but for the listener, they may say, oh, well, she's not talking to me, I'm good with my
Right.
technology, right?
Right.
Or I maximize my uses of technology and all the things that I'm able to access, and I need that. So how would they know, based off of your work, that they may need some intervention in the digital well-being space?
So first, I'm going to go back to what we just talked about. That it is, first of all, it's important for people to identify their values. If it's more important to them to be on their, I mean, again, no judgment. It's more important to them to be on their cell phones than to be with the people around them. Because for whatever reason, maybe they have a sick relative or a sick child and they just need to stay connected, or they have a child that's outstation, but you have to identify what your values are. Even with time management, anything that you do, you need to identify what your values are. And then once you identify what your values are, then you can kind of look at what your values are and then look at what you're actually doing. Usually I get people to take a look, or do a quick audit, right? So how much time are you spending? How much time do you spend in front of a screen all day, right?
Mhm,
Where do you want to spend your time? And do those two things match up, right?
mhm,
So do you really want to spend 4 hours on TikTok every day, or do you only want to spend 1 hour, right?
mhm.
I mean, you may need
So
that
it's kind of
downtime.
like so it's kind of like, I know in our space, in my space, in the mental health space, it's really when, as you're saying, it's a values misalignment, and you feel like you can't stop. Like, hey, I want to be on this less, but I cannot. That's how you
Right.
know that it's a challenge.
And
Yeah.
that's when you can leverage the technology, right? So, like, let's say it's TikTok is a thing, right? And you're having trouble, but there's a setting that you can take off autoplay. So every time you're looking at a new video, you're consciously making a choice and saying play, right? You're not
Mhm,
just getting pulled in because of the algorithm or whoever is pulling you to the next one. You're conscious. You can do the same thing on YouTube. You can do the same thing on Netflix. You turn off the autoplay so that if you're going to sit down, you may want to binge watch, but if you're going to do it, you sit down and you say, I want to watch that next episode. You don't just
nice. You
automatic.
don't have it auto. So it's really moving with a level of intentionality, right? Not
Right.
having this passive experience with your technology, but actually having a very active relationship, which is how any relationship should be approached. Let's get into this chat. So we have Nico SX379, using focus mode and or putting the phone on airplane mode has been a very useful way for me. I would concur. Like I have my focus mode on until 11.
Mm.
Um and it works, you know.
Yeah. And the,
It,
and the and the notifications are still there, so it's not like you miss any, miss it. You're not missing anything. The notifications are still there, so you're
mhm,
not missing anything. And then you can have exceptions, right? Most of them allow you to have exceptions, so that if it is a call, like someone says, well, my boss is always calling me and I need to make sure, you can make it so that if your boss calls you twice, it goes through. I know, at least on Apple, and I think on Android as well, you can use those settings. So leveraging that technology to help you pursue your goals versus the goals of the tech company that needs your information in order to make money.
yeah. Or I mean, even to your point, the goals of, this may be an interesting waters here, but in my work that I do in the mental health space, a lot of people sit with anxiety. And
Mhm.
the thing about anxiety is that if anxiety can find a way to go to transfer onto someone else so that person don't have to feel it, they will do that. So sometimes that may look like a lot of emails, a lot of calls, a lot of texts, or someone trying to get in contact with you when what they want can really wait. Right. So I hear that use of focus mode or use of, exceptions, etc., really helps create boundaries,
Yes.
so that, in this particular environment that we live, when, a lot of people identify or over identify with their work or over identify with certain types of connections, they become lost within themselves to some degree, you know what I mean, and
Mm.
not utilizing the technology, to your earlier point, in the most effective way, but actually being kind of overtaken by it, where they don't necessarily have clear boundaries with that.
Yeah, that's actually a whole section that I just added about making sure boundaries, because as managers sometimes we have to make sure that we have boundaries, and then we respect our employees' boundaries as well, because like I gave the example, like my last job, I was in meetings from 8 to 5, and then I had to do regular work. So sometimes I did send emails late and our scheduled send did not work, but I had to make it extremely clear to my employees, do not answer me. If you answer me, I'm paying you because you shouldn't be working, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
Uh
I do that too. I do that too. I say, hey, sometimes I'm up working. I do not expect you to. If I send an email on the weekend, please do not respond to me until you get to work. It is just me. I'm working. What you don't know is I also had a nap today and you didn't. You know what I mean? So,
right.
like, please. So let's get to, we have RT and TT Tam that says, great philosophy. Love how everything you do is values based. Awesome. Awesome. So you all, please, if you have any questions for O, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'd like to engage with you all. Our audience here, we have 4 of you in here strong, really supporting and learning the things that you need to learn. So if there's questions that you have, please maximize this time you have with O of Rainwater Growth. And we'll be sure to attend to your query. Yes?
Yeah.
Well, you can't
Or
respond
not,
to
because
me.
I told you, I don't answer our questions. I
Well,
answer
we're
like
gonna attend to it. We would at least acknowledge it. It's 4 people in here, you know?
like question.
I'm not
I don't
answering.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I would, of course, I'm gonna answer, or I'm gonna give the right answer, because sometimes the answer is I don't know. Let me look into it.
Sure,
So I will
sure.
I will do that as well.
Yeah, I will give you a response, right?
Yeah.
So it may not be the answer
No,
to
I'm just
your
kidding.
question,
Uh,
but it will be a response.
oh, that was me trying to be serious. I'm sorry. Let me go back to uh my
We are
reserve.
multifaceted as human beings. We have all different types of all different facets to ourselves. So be all of those things.
Yeah.
Yes. And because we talk about relationship and authenticity. So it's
Yeah.
really important not to apologize for who we are and understand that we are magnets that attract the people that are for us. So your range is very much accepted.
Yeah. I actually was gonna mention, because that's actually what came to my mind when you talked about relationships, was how I also host networking events, and so that's something that I try to focus on. Not just here's my LinkedIn, uh, here's my LinkedIn information, or here's my virtual business card, but actually making connections and learning about the other people, so that you are able to make those genuine connections, or this is not the person for me, and you're able to move on. But
Mhm.
instead of just staying at that surface level, being able to make, because that was something that I missed. How, like, sometimes you add things because you're trying to solve a problem for yourself, and
Sure.
so
Of
I had
course. Oh yeah, I know something about that.
so I was going, especially, had kind of ramped up the amount of networking events I was going to, and then I had these meetup groups, and so I kind of fell into doing the networking events. But I wanted to make it a place where people can genuinely connect, and not just here's another contact from my card that I'm never going to talk to ever again.
Yeah, yeah, this kind of just blind passing. When you mentioned it earlier, I heard be the change, right? So a lot of the you want to see in the world, let me finish it. So a lot of the things that we create are very much the things that we need as well. So I
Yeah.
definitely see that. Um, so another question for you. Can you give a success story, right? Can you think about a person, or do you work with organizations, or do you just work up from
Mostly I'm working with individuals. I worked with a couple of organizations, but I've mostly worked with individuals through that Eventbrite page. That's where I get the majority of my traffic. The people from my mailing list, they come to me through Eventbrite. Occasionally people would come through. Uh, hey, I got a question. I think that's Ryan Tam. Have a if see, he just totally threw me off. Like, he's not my friend anymore. But if there is Yeah, I totally lost it.
So you were talking about we're going to get to what's his name, Ryan?
I think it's Ryan.
Okay, we'll get to that question because he gave your full name. So it's somebody that knows you clearly. You were talking about whether you do B2C, business to customer, or whether you
Got it.
do
Yes.
B2B.
Thank you for bringing me back because sometimes I get, side where it'll be like the train.
It's
Uh,
okay. We here
so
together.
that's where the majority of my customers. Occasionally, people will come to me from LinkedIn, or people will come to me from Flipboard because I also post to Flipboard. But just going back to that social media thing we just talked about, I'm limited in the amount of free time that I give Microsoft, so I don't do. Uh, I don't do as much heavy posting and marketing on those social platforms because they are, making money from my free content. But
Sure.
that's a whole different conversation that we
Yeah, you
probably
got to
won't talk about
protect
right now.
your IP and your skill set. So yes, your friend here says, "Hi, Olethea. If there's only one feature in 365 you can recommend one needs to learn, what would you say it should be?" That's
I'm
a
gonna tell him it's not OneNote, but I'm just kidding. He actually, if this is, I think it is Ryan. So if it is Ryan,
He
he
says it's
actually,
still your friend. So Ryan, reveal yourself. Are you?
yeah, like you
Are,
called me out, you doxed me, so now we have to
please
dox you.
let us know if you are Ryan. Okay.
But he actually teaches a class on. Taught recently taught a whole class on like OneNote for the entire region. He works.
What is
Used to work.
OneNote?
OneNote actually is something that has Microsoft. That's not my answer. It's Ryan's answer. But I will tell you about OneNote. OneNote is Microsoft. If you're familiar with Notion, are you
I've
familiar with
heard of
Notion?
it.
Okay, it's more of a
Like a project management.
you can use it for project management, but it's electronic. Think of it as an electronic notebook. That's the easiest way. It's an electronic notebook. But the great thing about it is it has hooks. So if you are taking notes in, it is right. But if
Where's
you're taking
Ryan?
notes in OneNote, you can, if you create a task, it'll automatically update to your Outlook, right? If you have a calendar, you have a meeting, you can automatically tie that meeting back and those notes back to it. So again, you don't have to go out and get Notion because you may not, depending on what features of Notion you're using, but you may be able to leverage OneNote and able to do it. It actually can store online, so it syncs across devices, so you can have it on your phone. I actually do have it on my phone.
Mhm.
You can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, and it'll sync. It'll sync up, and you're able to put that information between devices and share it. You can share out information. For instance, a good use case: I go to conferences, I have notes. When I'm done, I share the notes out to my friends because they weren't able to make it to the conference.
Nice.
And then you're still able to do anything, almost anything you can do in Word. You're almost able, like the basic things you can do in Word, you can do it in that particular piece of software. You can
Okay.
create templates. We actually had an entire because you're able to make chapters and books, and so you can make it as complicated or as simple as you like, and so you can make a template. So if you have a certain SOP, let's talk about SOPs because
I
that's
was
something
just thinking SOP in my mind. Okay.
and you can make a template so that every time this particular thing happens, it creates a new notebook, and the person can just go through the different steps each, chapter one, chapter two, chapter three each time.
Mhm.
Or it could be the place that you keep your SOPs. So you
Mhm.
have your SOPs. Let's say I'm going to use you and I'm going to make up things because I don't know how practices are run. But you have your intake procedures here, you have your marketing procedures here, you have your IT procedures there, and you have different tabs for those things, and you're able to cross reference them back. Microsoft has also introduced this other thing that ties into it. If you have the subscription called Loop, and so it's going to tie all your 365 information back together with these reusable parts.
Mhm.
And so you're able to use it across the software. But the thing I was going to say
Mhm. But
was
before you say that, you see me smiling. I just had the aha moment, and I may look a little silly on this podcast. It's like, oh, this is why it's 365, right? Like because because everything is like connected. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I
right.
understand. Okay, cool, 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 cool.
It's just good.
But not
It's good marketing from Microsoft as well.
yeah,
Like
it's like
sometimes their names don't work, but I think the
yeah, but
365
like
name actually worked.
yeah, in terms of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like every day there's something, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like it's all connected. So now that Ryan has identified yourself, thank you, Ryan. We appreciate you. And she has done an amazing job talking about what is it?
OneNote. Hit OneNote.
OneNote, which is, we understand your expertise. So now we're going to have to present on what her number one recommended feature is of
If you
365.
use Outlook, you should use Quick Steps. I think that that is the number one thing that people are missing. You're able to make simple automations. I think it's over 20 different actions, and it even works in New Outlook, because Microsoft has kind of stripped everything out of Outlook to try to make it to be Gmail plus. But even in New Outlook, you're able to just map together. So, for instance, if you're into email management and you categorize your emails, or you want to drag your email over and make it a message or a task, you can automatically categorize it, file it, and whatever with one button, right? You click one button, and then either it can ask you where do you want to put it, it can ask you what category, or if it's something you do all the time, you could just have it set to say, put it in my orange folder and do this, and it just does it once you press that button. If you have an email, like for instance, if you have a SOP, let's say you have a SOP that says if this kind of inquiry comes in, you must copy these other people. You can make a quick step that says copy, I'm going to reply to this, and I'm always going to copy these people. So you have a custom reply button that always replies to the right people, and you can make it have a little introduction on it, so that if you need to include some boilerplate text, you can put it there, and so you can send it. And so it's so much flexibility, and you don't have to crack open Power Automate or anything else. You can do all of that within Outlook without going into any other things that you more powerful tools that are included in the suite.
Nice. So now I'm gonna add an additional layer, right? To to Ryan's question. So, hi Olithia. If there if there's only one feature in Google Workspace
hmm
you can recommend one needs to learn, what would you say it should be?
Okay, so with Google Workspace, I think that the killer app or the killer functionality of Google Workspace, but it depends on privacy. Going back to, you can have things to be convenient or you can have them to be private, is actually the add-ons feature, which is not one thing in particular, but it's a functionality, and it's a lot less. I don't want to say clunky because we like Microsoft here, but it's a lot easier to implement in your inbox. So let's say you're using Google Workspace and Google doesn't have Planner, but you use Asana. Then you can add that Asana plugin, and then it shows up in your inbox, right?
Mhm.
Use my own use case. I use HubSpot. I have a plugin. And so I was about to build an entire automation behind this. And I was like, you know what? I can just use this plugin. Yes, I have to click one button, but it's like so much easier than me building the time. It didn't add up.
Mhm.
So I would think that add-ons are the best feature. The second best feature in Google, because it's a share first functionality, you can create almost any document. If you have a Google Workspace account, you can automatically make it a web page, right?
Make it a so you have to, for those of us who are not in your world, share first functionality. What does that even mean?
Oh, I just meant that it's, whereas Microsoft is more, it's made for the enterprise, and so it's made more for people who work with each other within one company, right?
Got it.
And
Okay.
Google has a little bit more flexibility with working with people outside of your company. So a lot of their features are meant
Share.
for, it makes it a lot easier to share outside of the company. And so one of those great features is you're able to turn things to a web page. So let's say you had a Google Doc and you just wanted to share it really quick. You could go ahead, instead of publishing it to your web server and going through whatever process you have to do that, you could just go to a little setting. You won't have a pretty URL, but you can go to a little setting and say, share this as a web page, and you're done.
Mm.
And so I would think that would be the number two. Or if you had to have a single functionality that's built into Google, I would think that that would be it if you disqualified add-ons.
Okay. Okay. This is exciting. You speak about automation, right? And I love learning, so I
Yeah.
probably have to just hire you to do this stuff for me because the learning curve would be a lot. So, well, I guess to that end, so a person like me who's extremely busy, as you know, I have my mental health practice. I am still in the space of where I am also a practicing practitioner, so I run the company and I also see clients. sometimes on my clinical days, the idea of learning a new process or how to do automation when my background is not in tech, I can do some things, but many things I cannot do. Does Rainwater Growth offer done for you services, right? So there's this audit that you do. uh Somebody's disagreeing. Okay, we
I
have
know who it is too.
experience.
So I feel supported. I have people. I feel supported. But go
Yes.
ahead.
So we will so tell us why. So while I ask her this question, Deborah Harris, GA,
Mhm.
um
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel
why
supported.
tell us why you disagree with Google versus Microsoft. And then by the time you type that out, we'll come back to you. So
So
does Rainwater Growth actually offer done for you services, or is it only the training for you to
no, I
do
mean I
yourself?
do offer the done for you services, but you still, even though you're gonna be busy, you still have to contribute because I can do exactly what you say you want, but it may not be what you need. And so there's still
Sure.
some work to be done there. There's the example that we always use in product and project management is like the picture of the tree, and it was like what the customer wanted and what they got.
Sure, sure,
And
sure.
so I can build a brilliant, like I would think it was brilliant anyway, solution for you or do something for you. But without that input from you and me actually getting to know you and finding out why you want to do what you want to do, then so it's going to take. I don't offer here. I'm going to give it to you.
Of course not. Not you with that's focused on relationships and ethics
Yeah,
and all of those things. One would assume, of course, that like it's not just here, right? Because then somebody may pay for something that they don't actually need and they'll have to pay you again, right? So
right,
this is where the values conversation and the relationship conversation comes back into our conversation around a thorough assessment and a partnership approach, and so I
right.
think that's cool. All right, let's see. Deborah, she knows me. LOL, I am Microsoft all the way. So you tell me, why Deborah is going to disagree with Google versus Microsoft. This is a test, Deborah. She has 60 seconds to argue your point, and then you get to tell us whether or not she's accurate. You ready?
Well,
Let's
okay, so
go.
it's about 60 seconds. Well, first of all, I agree with her. It was going back to what I was saying before that Microsoft is built for the enterprise, right? But since
Mhm.
I've been in this small business space, I've been converted. I've seen the light. No, I'm just kidding, because I still am for the most part.
You're
I'm team
supposed to be
Microsoft.
arguing for Deborah's position. This is a test of your friendship to see if you know her.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's because Microsoft is for the enterprise. Like that's
Oh,
her
okay,
main
that's right.
argument is Microsoft
Okay.
is for the enterprise. It has all this functionality that's there, and that small businesses, even though it may be an easier entry point to go to Google Workspace, they're charging you the same thing as Microsoft, and you're getting half the value.
Really?
I'm just you could be, let's put it that way. You
Okay.
could be getting a significantly less amount of the value, and so you can grow into that enterprise,
Mhm.
structure that Microsoft has for you. Even though
Mm.
that's part of what yeah, see there she just got it works for one person or
Or
uh, you know,
300,000.
right.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean it does have that strength, especially before some of the changes that they recently made. Microsoft, it was very good. They're very good on security. Going back to what I think that our other friend, I can't remember his name, was it I can't remember. I think he was on Facebook, but he was talking about Copilot, right?
Oh,
Copilot
mhm,
had
mhm.
very strong security on it, whereas
Okay.
ChatGPT, it didn't work
Yeah,
as well.
Nico X 379.
So
Yeah.
Nico, what he said, like the Microsoft's Copilot had very strong privacy protections on it, right?
Mhm.
Microsoft, like before ChatGPT busted out, got really popular with their AI program, you had to apply because it's such a powerful technology, right?
Mhm.
Microsoft had you go through like, we want to make sure that you're not going to use this for evil, so they
Mhm.
had values attached to the
Sure.
software. It's not just a free for all,
Mhm. Mhm. Copilot. Copilot.
but it has
When you
it
know,
has
you
strong
know.
privacy.
Copilot sucks. But wait a minute. Copilot is a part of Microsoft, yes?
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
but
it's
Deborah is a Microsoft
except for that, she's team Claude when it comes to. I think
okay.
I converted her over to Claude,
Okay.
but for when it comes to LLMs, but those things, I mean, it matters. Like what software you use matter and what the people's goals are, right? We had a company which I said I'm going to try to steer away. I'm going to come away, but we had a company who said that they were a nonprofit that was for the good of humanity or whatever, and trying to make sure that particular technology didn't get misused. Then they changed their policies and started selling their technology to military. Then they made themselves for profit. That matters. So when you build or you decide to work with a particular company, you need to kind of, again, just like when you work with a person, you need to find out what their values are, especially when they have your information. And I don't want to go too deep down there, but it's very important to make sure that that company's goals and values align with yours, because you don't know. And you have to have an escape plan, because sometimes, like, they say wonderful things, and then a year, by the time your renewal comes up, then they've changed, they've had
Yeah,
other goals. And so you
yeah.
have to kind of build that resiliency into your IT stack. And most people don't want to kind of think about that, but that's something that's very important, especially as the technology grows and gets more powerful. It's
Okay.
very important to make sure that the company that you support the companies that, like someone said, I went to TEDx on Saturday, you support the companies that are going to support you. That's
Sure.
something that's important.
Sure. There we are. We're back in that balance. We don't want an imbalanced relationship, right?
Right.
We want reciprocity and safety in relationships. And I many of us read through that fine print, and so we are. I guess I might be one of those people that value like ease and quickness, and maybe some of for my company, we have to sign like BAAs and other types of things because, to ensure that there's privacy, but that we adhere to the privacy laws. But I could imagine that, without someone who really understands fully and how to interpret some of the things that's buried in some of the terms and conditions, sometimes it could be um, quite overwhelming, or you may need someone like you to come in and say, hey, this is these companies' values. Does this align? We need a translator, if you will, because
That's
it's
actually,
a lot.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was
No,
going to
I
say,
just was I was just saying it's a lot, but you go ahead.
no, I was saying that that's actually like one um, way that you can use the AI tools that we have. All these contracts that we're signing all day, which are terms and conditions, are legally binding contracts. We're signing these contracts all day, and so one use of it is to shoot it through LLM and say, "What is this saying? What am I signing up for?"
Mhm.
I think we all may remember the guy whose wife died from food allergies in Disney, and Disney says, because you have Disney Plus and you signed the terms and conditions, you can't sue us.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think they, walked it down because it was such an outcry when it happened.
Mhm.
But, so we need to know what we're signing away and what we're doing. I mean, it may be that, we really need something right then and we're making that trade-off, but doing that trade-off, being our eyes wide open and knowing what we're doing, is kind of important. Well,
Kind
it's
of.
actually very
It
important. It's
seems
not
like
kind of,
it's
it's very
germane. Yes. Extremely important. Okay. So as we prepare to wrap up, please, for your friends and supporters in the chat, if you have any final questions, we would love to get to those. And then anything for, I can't remember if we got to your success story. In terms
so
of someone that you have worked with. So if you can just walk us through where they were before they met with you, keeping whatever confidentiality that you need to, keep. I don't know what the rules are for you, but where they were, and then the impact you were able to make for them in on a practical level.
okay, so I will try to give two examples to give like different kinds of help. So, we have the example of someone who just comes to the class and who wants to know something.
Mhm.
And so being able to provide someone with a resource that, like I had a mentor, or like a old hat, I can't think of what you call it, old hat analyst in my job. And he, one of the things he said was, you teach people how to fish, you don't just give them the fish.
Sure.
So someone came to the class and they, I showed them how to get to the answer, but I showed them how they could get the answer in the future and they didn't have to come back to me.
Mhm.
So it was something they were trying to do in Power Automate, and so, and it actually just it actually relied on HTML, and so I showed them how to get to the, like, I think is W3C or whatever, that page where you can look up any, any of the information. So that way you don't have to look for any, get help from anyone. You can, but you
Mhm.
have that resource.
Mhm.
The other thing I wanted to mention as a thing, I don't know if it's a success story, but it's a way that I've helped someone. Had a lady, target audience, whatever, and she was getting ready. She had been stay at home, and she was getting ready to go back into the workforce.
Mhm.
And so she wanted to learn more about Excel. So not only did I help her through, again, giving her that particular class, but I also gave her resources so she could do self study. And so
Mm.
with that information, she was able to feel confident in
Mhm.
applying for new things. Do you want something a
No,
different?
no, no. I love that. Like what you are speaking to, how that translates to my mind, right? There's this, we opened this podcast talking about, your love of learning and your love of teaching. And as we get ready to wrap up, I am hearing, again, those elements coming through, specifically around ensuring that you don't align with a savior um, role in any of these relationships, right? And
Right.
then so sometimes people would say, okay, well, she's not saving, it's empowerment, right? And so personally, I have challenges with the word empowerment because that means that you are bestowing power upon someone, which means that you have it, right? So another word that I like to think about is like really power sharing. You know what I mean? Like both people have um intellect, skill, ideas, and you all are coming together to be able to, for a focused goal
Mhm.
in helping that person to achieve what they want to achieve by sharing power and leveraging the various skill sets. And so I love that you work from that paradigm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, another way of what that reminds, the way that you describe it, is community, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
community. It's sharing
Healthy,
information.
healthy community,
Well,
right? Because
yeah,
yeah, it's the healthiest version of community, right? Where
right,
there's not this imbalance. It is a collective, maybe,
right.
So we don't have any more questions in the chat. I do have one more question for you before we close out. You mentioned earlier that you wake up in the morning and you study Duolingo.
Mhm.
So what language are you
Well,
learning?
actually, it's like 4, but
What languages are you learning?
so, of course, the Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, and let's see, what's the other? Well, maybe it's just 3 because I'm doing Japanese. I mean, doing Portuguese on 2 different apps. So it's
Okay.
Japanese, Spanish, and Portuguese.
Okay. Okay. Any particular reason why, or is it just your love of learning?
Well, I've been studying the Spanish since I was, I went, like, I even took it. I had, like, took 4 classes when I was in college, so I've been doing Spanish since, like, middle school. So just to kind of keep it in my mind. Portugal, I want to visit Portugal one day. I don't know
Mhm.
when. And then
Okay.
Japanese, I actually was in I had was in the Japanese. I don't know how to describe it, but I was in a program where I had started learning Japanese, and I also want to keep that keep. I don't know how, like, I know how to say, "Oh, Genki desu ka," actually, how you doing? But that's pretty much
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay.
But to keep keep those things fresh.
Nice. Nice. I love that. So as we wrap up, where can people find you? Is there anything that you want to promote? Anything you have coming up in terms of an event? So this is your moment to share what needs to be shared before we get out of here.
No, they could just come find on my website, rainwatergrowth.com. It's all one word on the website. I have classes offered on Eventbrite, still offer the one-on-ones. And then if we have a conversation, then I also offer more extensive assistance.
Yes. And since this is Barter Black, right? If you're not a member, please
Yes,
consider
that's also there. I'm
becoming
sorry.
a member so that you could potentially work with O and Rainwater Growth using your barter bucks. So what's your offering on Barter Black?
So I have, because my background is in project management, so I have a fractional PMO offering, I have a training offering, and I have SOP and automation offering. And there's one more. I don't remember what the other one. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you. See, how do I say? I don't know how to say you're welcome in Japanese right now. For some reason, Spanish is coming, so I'm like
Say it
Denada.
in Spanish. Just say it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like Denada, and that's not the right thing. I could say, let's see, Konbanwa, good evening. But the so those things are what I'm offering on Barter Black. Those four. I think I still never got the fourth, but that's where we can look up things. So I can tell
Yeah.
you in about if we
Well, we're
don't
at
mind.
time. We're at time, but they can go to the Barter Black website as well.
Yes. Oh, I only
www.barterblack.io.
have three now. I had four. I only have three, so I gave all three.
Yes, and you be able to connect with the entrepreneurs on the platform, making their offerings. And it has been a pleasure today. Thank you to everyone in the chat.
Yes, for the people who came out there, I feel so support. Like I said, I feel so supported and cared about and loved. So.
Yes, I am your host for this evening. My name is Shatiea Blount. I am a strategic wellness consultant and podcast host at Barter Black. And this has been a joy, and I will see you all soon. Bye.